Today on Play and Display, we are going to be doing a deep dive and some deep cuts into some of the best patriotic toy lines that existed in the 1980s. Let's go. Starting out this list at number 5 is Megaforce. Now, Megaforce was produced by Kenner Toys back in 1989, but they mostly focus on crazy military vehicles. I mean, you had your standard tanks, helicopters, and jets, but then you had jets carrying other jets on top of it. They had these like really cool, almost like Transformer-like. You could definitely tell they were inspired by Micro Machines, but you gotta respect Megaforce for going all out, just using their imaginations on what a military vehicle could be though. And as a kid who was really into that growing up, it was so cool and so rad, and I'm glad that toy line existed. And next up on the list is Eagle Force. Now, Eagle Force is kind of a rough cut, hidden gem, because they were only out for about a year, but they actually predated G.I. Joe. And the thing about Eagle Force was they were 2 3/4 inch action figures, and they weren't made out of plastic. They were made out of die cast. So Eagle Force did try to promote itself on the back of the cards that these figures came with, a little comic book. It was Captain Eagle, basically, versus, I think, Captain Mamba or something like that. Anyways, it was another snake-related name, similar to Cobra, but like I said, this predated G.I. Joe. The coolest thing that is so hard to find complete nowadays, though, is Eagle Island. Now, Eagle Island is a big, massive playset for these figures. And you can't get more 80s than a playset that's a giant mountain carved into the shape of an eagle, though. This was so cool to have back in the day, though, and it's very hard to find nowadays, especially complete. But these action figures came with plenty of weaponry, and they were a great alternative, though. But like I said before, Mego was experiencing some financial problems at the time, and it only lasted for a year, so finding them was very difficult. Now, when I was growing up as a kid in the 1980s, we would play a game with my neighbors called War. And basically, we just took our plastic machine guns and grenades, and we ran around pretending to shoot at each other. Then, Army gear came around, made by Galoob. These were not only things like a canteen, a knife, a pistol, or an assault rifle or grenade. These were little miniature playsets you could open up. The grenade would kind of turn into like a little thing, and a Jeep would pop out. The canteen, I believe, turned into an aircraft carrier. I had a pistol that turned into a missile cell. This was an amazing toy line, and it gave me great memories I had with my neighborhood friends growing up, and that's why it's on my list. It has to be. So Rambo in the 1980s wasn't just an R-rated movie. It was also a cartoon show and toy line. The thing about it, though, was the cartoon was never really that great. It was Rambo and a few of his buddies. I think one of them was a race car driver, and the other one was like a master of disguise. I think he had a ninja buddy, too. I'm not 100% sure about that, though, but they fought savage. Now, like I said, did not care for the cartoon show one bit, but that toy line was absolute fire. You got Rambo, you got artillery galore. You would have bazookas that would fire missiles, man. You would get machine guns that would feed in through the belt. It would give them the whole 9 yards. So cool. We're talking about helicopters, accessories. We're talking Jeeps, and a great playset. A lot of people call it, oh, it's just a glorified watchtower, but the Savage Headquarters playset was on par. This was one of the few things I was blessed enough to have growing up as a kid. For a brief moment in time, we had an epic toy line with Rambo, and for the 80s, it was pretty damn good. All right, you guys knew G.I. Joe would probably be number 1 on my list, but here's the reasons why I think it is not only one of the greatest toy lines ever made, but definitely the most patriotic toy brand of the 1980s. The red, white, and blue, the American flag was in the branding of the G.I. Joe logo on every package. We're talking about really awesome military vehicles. The USS Flag is still probably one of the most holy grail action figure playsets you can find anywhere out there. We're talking the Air Striker, everything like that. You would not only find G.I. Joe in the toy aisle, but you would also find him at your local convenience store on the comic book rack. They would be your after-school cartoons. G.I. Joe was everywhere, and it was awesome. And with that, G.I. Joe inspired a whole generation, and that's why they hold the coveted number 1 spot. And that is my list. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you guys like to, let me know if you guys had any of those toys before. Go ahead and leave them down in the comment down below. Also, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. But until then, guys, appreciate you for watching. Until then, play it loud, display it proud.